Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and despite the fact that Phantasmal Flames has just released, I think at the time of releasing this video, there's a ton of other really interesting things going on in the Pokemon TCG involving new sets and just a bunch of really cool things. And this one actually really surprised me when it was revealed here. I'm not actually sure what this image is from. It's on PokeBeach here. It's obviously not very good quality. But anyways, it's probably on the thumbnail blurred because so it doesn't look like this. But regardless, this is really interesting seeing the trainer mechanic return, which is what we're having here, specifically in the expansion Mega Dream EX, which is making up um, something. I don't know if it's called Mega Dream EX, but regardless, the set that's like the mini set coming at the beginning of the next year before rotation. So these cards will be before rotation. I don't know how much that matters. Also, I don't know what this card does. Looks like 70 for 3, 200 for 4. I can't really tell. Regardless, it's obviously ends Zekrom here. Another trainer's Pokemon, which the trainer's Pokemon mechanic is actually one that I've been pretty critical of so far, not because it's like super bad, but because it's unfortunately relatively underwhelming in terms of functionally being, different in terms of actual gameplay. And we're going to take a look at that today and talk about how maybe Pokemon can design the trainers Pokemon to improve it, right? Because in standard, they're all right, but they're not special. I mean, thematically, they're pretty cool. I mean, look, this end Vestram, this card looks awesome. And Vestram, obviously, I don't know if it's like the most iconic combo or anything like that, but it's cool. It's relatively iconic and popular. Trainer and Pokemon there. Also, there are a few megas that, or not megas, there are cards that haven't released that are gonna release eventually, presumably then in the Mega era. Because of course we recently started the Mega era with the expansion Mega Evolution, and they came out in Japan. There's apparently these three here. This Iono's Watch Roll, I believe it's the same as the Iono's watch roll that we have. Yeah, it's just a different art there, but it's a really cool art. I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, that's not out yet. But then we have two mechanically or like functionally different cards that we haven't seen yet either, which I'll talk about. I'll talk about right now, I guess. And they're gonna have to come at some point, and hopefully they come soon because they do have synergies with some of the other trans Pokemon stuff. I actually think they're a little bit interesting. The first one I'll mention here is the Hops. Oh no, okay, it's Hops Pincushion EX. This card apparently Limitless has the wrong name. Not sure why, but this is Hops Pincushion EX. This has the ability to counterattack Quills if it's in the active damage by attack from your opponent's Pokemon. Put 3 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. And for Lightning colorless, you do 120, draw 2. These aren't like gym promo cards. For the most part, these cards aren't super good. If we look at them, I mean, there's like some good cards like this gaming cool, I guess, is okay, but like most of these aren't very good. Or like Nest Ball's good, but those are like reprints of other cards. But you look at stuff like Billionaire first came out here in Japan, really really bad. Time, unfortunately bad. Right for it. Wait. Oh, this was also in a set, but this is bad. There's just a lot of bad cards here. Unfortunately, TM Machine. I mean, it's funny, but it's not very good here. So you see a lot of really bad cards. These aren't like horrendous. I mean, it seems bad. 120 for 3, and then drawing 2 is not good. It's not the worst thing ever, but it's certainly not good. And we can compare it to something like Miraidon EX or something like that, which is doing 100 more damage there. Miraidon EX obviously a good card doing decent damage, but it's not even played mostly for its attack. I mean, some played for its attack. It's also played for its ability. It's played for both, but if it didn't have the ability, it would not be very good. So long story short, it's not even an absurd attack there. And Pincushion EX, I mean, drawing 2 is like cool, but generally attacks that draw you cards. That's a little bit of upside to add on to something already decent. That is like fair, but if that's not the case, then it's bad. Like Felicity EX draws you cards with its attack, but it does like more damage. It's all colorless. It has a cool ability. It has really high HP. You don't see those things with Pincushion EX, but it is a Hops Pokemon. The ability is also here. It's like okay, but yeah, the attack can be powered up using Hops Choice Band or also Snorlax from or Hop Snorlax. Yeah, there we go. And yeah, those cards are okay. They're definitely or actually they're quite good. The Hops Pokemon in general, we're obviously gonna get to them. They're certainly not amazing there, but Pincushion EX paired with those, it can be like a decent tank option. It's cheaper, it's stronger. Overall, it's not like absurd. You're not doing crazy damage. You're doing, was it 180 for two? But that's like not bad, and you draw two as well, and you have the ability. So I think there was something there. There are ways to accelerate lightning energy, but overall this is kind of meh, but it's not horrendous. And there's also Kangaskhan EX or Team Rocket's Kangaskhan. It's no Mega Kangaskhan. But this card is also kind of interesting. It is a Team Rocket's Pokemon. We'll obviously talk about the Team Rocket support later on in the video to kind of look at what's went right and wrong with the Team Rocket stuff. But generally, long story short, the Team Rocket stuff has really good support. Not necessarily Pokemon support. I mean, the trainers are really good, and the special energy is really good. Not just damage and HP like we see with a lot of the other ones, but overall it is pretty good. And here, if you play a supporter, a Team Rocket supporter, you do 100 more, so you're doing 220 for 3, which is like okay. I was just talking about that number. And then for 2 colors, you flip 4 coins, 30 for each heads, averaging 60 there, could be doing as much as 120, which is like okay. Keep in mind there is Team Rocket's energy, which is 2 energy, so you can kind of discount the attacks by 1. Bad impact is okay. I mean, it has the word bad in it. That's usually not a good sign, right? But ultimately, this is okay. You know, there's something here. I'd say it's a little less interesting than the Hop Spin Cushion. A few less things going on, but it is still okay. It's probably better than the Hop Spin Cushion, right? It's not the most efficient or powerful card, but it's certainly not a horrendous card either here. But I did want to mention these. I haven't talked about them in so long, and we haven't gotten them yet. So there's certainly no Psyduck, the one of the promos we were waiting a long time for, but they are certainly all right, kind of interesting, having some cool stuff going on with them. And I'm really excited to see these new trans Pokemon. These ones are not super good. The ones we should be getting should be better, like this Zekrom should be better as an option within the Ends deck. And I think there might have been another one leaked. I'm not really sure. I don't like pay attention to like actual leaks, unless I think this is like kind of a leak because it doesn't look like a regular reveal. But there's like always a lot of leaks being talked about, and they're all like half of them aren't even real. And then regardless, I think I mean, presumably there's going to be more than just this ends Zekrom. But anyways, let's talk about the actual trans Pokemon and how good they've been and how bad they've been, and how interesting they've been. I feel like in terms of balance, they've been decent. That's not what I have an issue with at all. I think the balance, I mean, they're a little weak. Some of the cards that are kind of cool just aren't very good. But if we look at the different trans Pokemon, also I will say it's like so hard to look these up, specifically Ends Pokemon. If I look up Ends, I see so many random cards. Like, why do I see this card? If anyone knows, yeah, I don't know why I see Shuckle when I search Ends. It doesn't have an N in the set name or card name, or that. Anyways, I don't know. But regardless, it's like really hard to find that one specifically. But it's kind of awkward with some other ones as well. But regardless, the first set joined together featured the first trans Pokemon in modern standard. There were trans Pokemon previously, which were like fine. Mechanically, they were actually even more bland than the current ones because trans Pokemon just have different names. They do have different names, which means that you can't they can't evolve from the other Pokemon. So I'll start with the Ends Pokemon. It specifically matters a bunch with Enzoric EX. Enzoric EX is like pretty. It's all right. I certainly wouldn't say it's an amazing deck. I would say it's never been an amazing deck. There have been times when people like it a bunch, but I'd say it's a little more popular than it is good, and it's not even that popular. I'd say it's never been in that top tier. But then you look at like other Zoroarks, because this is not Zoroark, it's Enzoroark, it also Enzorua, not regular Zorua. And there's the Zoroark from specifically Black Bolt White Flare, a pretty fun card. It's seen a little bit of play. It's like not that good, but it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. And there's this other Zoroark, which is also, similar idea there. And some, just fun stuff you can do with these, but they're more useful as tech options, but they can't be teched into decks playing Ends or EX. You could definitely say Ends or like decks playing Ends or EX as a support line would be too powerful if we if it could evolve from regular Zora and then it was you could put in those other options there, but I think it would be kind of cool there. And ultimately, by making them the trainer Pokemon mechanic, long story short, what I'm saying is you're losing out on some other cool things that could be happening. So you need it to be more cool than just a normal card, which I'd say this card isn't. You copy, benched ends Pokemon, which is like there's not that many. And then you also have an ability, which we've seen before, and it's cool, but it's not like it's not game warping, certainly in the way it was in the past. Like, in standard, it's okay. We see, it being played not really too much as a support engine. It's like occasionally played as a support engine, but it's not even, as I said, an amazing attacking option either. The attacking options you have to copy are Enzrevestrium is actually the main one in standard right now. Just a pretty generic attacking option there, doing like okay damage, and then you also have the N-Star Mantan, a snipe-based Pokemon. There's some cool stuff. There's also some end support pieces. There's the Stadium Ends Castle to reduce retreat cost. It's okay, I guess. It's actually like kind of good, but then when they air balloon, it's kind of redundant, unfortunately. And Pack Run EX. But then there's also Ends PP up, and are those two? Yeah, I think those two. There are some other Ends Pokemon as well, but for the most part, Ends PP up is a generic energy acceleration option. Dark Patch is pretty much the same, except just like better. And Dark Patch in Standard, when it was most recently in Standard, wasn't like broken or anything like that. So, again, you have these cards. You have like Ends PP Up, Ends Castle, Lily's Pearl, Hop's Choice Band, Hop's Bag. You also have. What else do we have? Oh, Levincia is not quite there. Levincia is actually kind of interesting. We'll talk about that one. Dust Survival is the next set here, and we also see trains like Granite Cave, Ethan's Adventure, Arvid Sandwich, Cynthia's Power Weight, Team Rocket's Ariana, Team Rock. Wait, no, not that one. Team Rocket's Factory, Team Rocket's Giovanni, Team Rocket's Great Ball, Team Rocket's Proton, Team Rocket's Transceiver, Team Rocket's Energy, Team Rocket's Archer, Spike Myth Gym, and yeah, I think those ones. Those are only playable within very specific decks. That's so many cards. That's most of the trainers / special energy in these sets that are only playable in very specific situations, which is pretty disappointing in my opinion. Not horrible. If you have these more like gimmicky decks, they can be legitimately fun. I'm not going to sit here and deny that, but if you're making a mechanic that's just that, I mean, you don't have to make a mechanic for that, right? We see in standard, Alexium's kind of a gimmicky deck. It's not like it's not necessarily a deck that refers to cards directly. I'm trying to think. Oh, there's the new Rotom, right? From Phantasmal Flames that just came out or is going to come out. I think it actually depends on daylight savings time. According to Uncommon Fossil, it's noon on Thursday in live. But regardless, yeah, the Rotoms refer to specific other cards, essentially in the same way that trainers Pokemon do. So and that's not a special mechanic. So long story short, things are pretty limited there. Levincia, though, is different and tend to work with the Iono stuff. The Iono stuff's pretty bad, unfortunately. The four trainers in this set, there's Hops. Hops is all right. Powerful support options, but ultimately the main attacking option, Hops Sasha EX, is very bland, unfortunately, in a way where it's not really able to do anything special and just isn't super good there. Then it's not like horrendous, but it's not good. I mentioned Ends, which is okay, one of the better ones, but it's not spectacular. Then there's Lily's Clefairy EX. There's Lily's. Lily's as a whole, Lily's Pearl is playable, but it's not particularly good. I mean, it's actually good theoretically, but the only Liz Pokemon that's at all good is Liz Clefairy EX. There's Liz Rabambi and Liz Comfy, which are the only other ones. Well, there's also the Cutie Fly, which is a previous evolution to, Rabambi. And they're all like pretty terrible, unfortunately. But then Lily's Clefairy EX is really good as a counter to Dragon Ball EX, but it's useful in other situations as well. Overall, it's a really powerful Pokemon, but in terms of synergies, it's super bland. I mean, it's not a bland card on its own. Actually, I made a video that was either entirely focused on this card or just mostly focused on this card. It's a super weird card. It fits into like a trio that's not even in the game, and the trio isn't with Pokemon related to it. The ability is essentially like almost like adding the fairy type back into the game because it got removed. It's a big mess, but I mean the card has some it's a big mess in a fun way. But ultimately there's no reason this has to be a Lily's Pokemon. It could just be regular Clefairy EX. It has a picture of Lily in the bottom right corner of the picture. and that's it. It's literally that's the only thing that matters for lilies. And yeah, so it's a fine enough card, but there's no reason for it to be a trainers Pokemon. And then there's yeah, I mean that's it there, right? But anyways, getting back to Levincia, Levincia is like useful. It doesn't refer to trainers Pokemon, and this design I like a lot more. But there's no reason to then make this a card. I mean, it's a cool card, but it doesn't actually interact with the trainers Pokemon mechanic directly, which is why it's cool. It's playable. It's really good within Goldengo, specifically decks playing Joltik and Goldengo. It's quite good there. So that's cool. A lot cooler than something like Hop's Bag, which is just a search option in Hop's decks, where it's like good, I guess, but it's not super interesting there. Then Destined Rivals, we had a bunch more trainers. This one's kind of weird. Team Rocket stuff had a really fun support package involving the supporters and stuff. The Pokemon, unfortunately, which make up a lot of the Pokemon in this set. By the way, I've like opened, I don't open many packs, but I've opened like a good chunk of packs in this set. And they're like most of the cards are trainers Pokemon. And so if you're like, oh, I want to play a deck, you better want to play a trainers Pokemon deck, right? Because that's mostly what you got here, unfortunately. Or fortunately, I mean, there are some cool trainers Pokemon. The Team Rocket stuff can be fun, but most of the trainers Pokemon decks are really linear. There's not that many cards in them. Within a certain like trainers Pokemon package, Team Rockets does have more of that, but it's not like a crazy amount. There's Team Rocket Spidops, and you can do some fun things, but it's mostly built around Team Rocket Spidops and Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX. And the rest of the cards are attack options, and then you have like the trainer package as well. There are some definitely fun things you can do with the Team Rocket stuff, but it's not like super interesting. It doesn't really encourage super interesting deck building. And when you look at the other ones, you have like Stevens, which is just focused around Stevens Metagross EX. You have Cynthia's, which is just focused around Cynthia's Garchomp EX. You have of course Marnie's. Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX is a good card, but Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX, it doesn't really matter that it's a Mario's Pokemon outside of the fact that you search it out with Spike with Gym, which it again doesn't really matter too much for the trainers Pokemon mechanic. It could just be like a stadium that says search for like Grimmsnarl or like Grimmsnarl or Morgrim or Impidimp, right? And then it is like essentially the same thing there. I think it's okay. You know, I mean the deck is fine enough to play. It's moderately fun. It's actually a little bland, but you know, you can enjoy it, right? It's definitely a deck that a lot of people enjoy. But it doesn't have to be a trainers Pokemon. If it wasn't a trainers Pokemon, the thing it loses out is the stadium, which again you could kind of work around if you wanted to. And the way the ability works would be like a little different as well, probably, but it wouldn't be too different. So ultimately, well, you could certainly make it in a way where it's not that different. There are some minor things that are cleaned up a little bit with the trainers Pokemon mechanic in terms of like wordings and stuff. And Mario's Grimmsnarl EX, I'm pretty sure, is like by far the most played trainers Pokemon, unless there's something I'm forgetting. Oh no, Lily's Clefairy EX, I guess, is probably the most played, but that's not played on its own. That's like a tech option. So I mean, Marnie's is like a fine card, but in terms of representing the trainers Pokemon mechanic, it doesn't really do it very much. And then there's also Ethan's Typhlosion is fine. It's a it's a gimmick deck. It's fine. Gimmick deck. When I say that, I mean it's like a deck where it's like you need to build it in this very specific way, even more specific than the other trainers Pokemon mechanics, because you play Ethan's Adventure, and you get Ethan's Adventure, and you do damage based on the Ethan's Adventure and stuff like that. So. It's fine. You know, it's a cool enough deck. It's fairly balanced, I'd say. But I mean, it's a little weak competitively. But in terms of like general cards, it's pretty well balanced. It's not like super interesting in my opinion, but again, some people like it. So it's fine, but again, doesn't highlight the trainers Pokemon mechanic. There's the other Ethan stuff, which is like the Ethan Toho EX. This is a cool card that doesn't interact with the other Ethan stuff. It's cool because it doesn't really interact with the other Ethan stuff that much, and it creates an interesting deck with the way it interacts with other cards there. There's like Misty's, another deck that's really built around just one very basic idea. And did I forget one? I feel like I forgot one. And I feel bad that I forgot it, but also I just don't remember what it is. I might have said them all. Ultimately, the trainers Pokemon mechanics, I mean, that was a pretty long-winded way of saying they're kind of bland, right? The Team Rocket stuff, there is more depth there. There's a bunch of Team Rocket's Pokemon, but most of them are bad. Team Rocket's Porygon Z is okay, I guess. I mean, it's pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie, but it's fun. And then you could just play the Porygon 2 as well, I guess, if you want to. And there's also the Crobat and Arbok and stuff, and these are kind of fun. But again, it doesn't really matter too much to the Team Rocket stuff. Oh, there's Arvin's. Yeah, I knew I was forgetting one. I'm pretty sure this is the last one. Arvin's is like super bad though. Unfortunately, it's quite bad. But regardless, tell me down below in the comment section if I'm missing the mark on these cards, if they're actually cool. I mean, I like Cynthia's Garchomp EX. I think it's a cool deck, but it's just a very simple deck to build in terms of you do the Cynthia stuff and that's it. But anyways, how are they going to change this with the trans Pokemon mechanic, the new cards coming out, or will they, change their philosophy, add to these archetypes, make them a little more interesting and in depth? Um, I don't know, right? I'm not really sure, to be honest, how they do that. Obviously, giving them a few more options to, in terms of what to do. I kind of said it like there were no options. That's not entirely true, but there's really limited options. Also, what? There's a Psychic Grimmsnarl. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked here. But long story short, trans Pokemon have a long ways to go. I guess looking at the competitive cards as well, I talked about a bunch of them. There's also something like Ethan's Pichu, which is like fine. This is actually another card bringing back the baby mechanic, which was like kind of gone for a while. But it like doesn't interact with the Ethan stuff really. I mean, it could, and it's not even like played that much. It's a cool card, I guess, but kind of whatever. There's like Team Rocket's Mimikyu. This could be teched into different decks. I've seen it like very little. I think it was like hyped because it got like revealed in a weird way, but regardless, it's like fine. It's kind of cool within the Team Rocket deck. It's kind of cool outside of it as well, but I mean, it's kind of bland as well. These are just the competitive cards from Destined Rivals and Journey Together. So a lot of like not trans Pokemon stuff. Hops Kermit, I guess, is also good, and Hops Double. In some different decks. When I say kind of good, I mean Hops Kermit's definitely playable. It's like all right. Hops Double is like relatively weak, but you can pair it with Hop stuff. You can pair it with not Hop stuff as well, and it can be interesting there. But again, I mean, this one I guess has some interactions with the Hop stuff. You can see Hop's Choice Band just kind of tossed into random decks paired with the what is it? The Hops Cramorant. A little bit, it's not like super common, but you might see it some. Here we see like one Hops Choice Band. Obviously, if Arvin to find it, then Hops Cramorant. And it's like fine enough, I guess, but it's not super interesting. It could literally just refer to Hops Cramorant in that situation. Again, there are some things going on with these cards that are like moderately interesting occasionally. But that's about all I can say about them, right? They're very simple, straightforward decks. Comparing it to, if we look at Mega Evolution, you see that like Meganium is meant to go with Mega Venusaur EX, right? Mostly, but there's a lot of cool things you can do with it as well. You can pair it with, you can do lots of different things in the deck. You can play different single prizes like Tapu Bulu, I guess. There's obviously the Tiamat Ogerpon EX, which was meant to go with it, I guess, but it's not like explicitly stated. There was also the Toadstool line. That's not the thing I meant to click. Obviously, it synergizes with the stadium. You have these inbuilt combos, or not like exactly combos, but like synergies, but you don't have to do it in that exact way. Same thing with something like, I mentioned Alakazam. You have Alakazam with Kadabra. You have Strange Timepiece. So things that you're intended to do together, but you don't have to. Same thing with the fighting package in the deck, or in the set. You have Mega Lucario EX. Mega Lucario EX. I don't know if it's like particularly good in Goldengo. I know it's been played, but I haven't actually seen anyone do that. But regardless, you have like the Mega Lucario, you got Hariyama, you got Lunatone, you have Solrock, you have Fusion Power Pro, you have Fighting Gong. You have all these cards coming together in a very logical way, but you can also use them in other situations. You can use Fighting Gong in Goldengo and like different things in Goldengo and Ceruledge and just some different decks and some really cool things you can do that you're not going to see as much with the trans Pokemon. Thematically, they are kind of fun. They're not amazingly fun, I'd say, personally, in terms of like arts. If we look at an art like, say, this Team Rocket's Crobat EX, I mean, it's a cool art, or maybe like not a Team Rocket's Pokemon, like Cynthia's Garchomp EX, right? Obviously a popular trainer. I'd say like the gold ones. I mean, you see Cynthia and you see Garchomp, but they're not even like doing anything together, right? It's kind of like there. And then the regular one, Cynthia's not even like it's in a separate picture in this art. It's kind of cool. This is admittedly a cool art, but you could see arts like this without it being a whole mechanic. I don't think there's that's like the reason to dedicate the mechanic to it. But anyways, tell me down below in the description, or not in the description, in the comment section, what your thoughts are on this video. If you think that the trans Pokemon, you're super excited that they're gonna be like returning in the Pokemon TCG, or if you think that they are just something that you're not looking forward to. If you think they're gonna change a lot here, if we're gonna get megas as well, that'd be kind of fun with them. But I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff. And as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video, especially with Phantasmal Flames.